...2001 was a banner year for L'Etoile Restaurant in Madison, Wisconsin. It signified the 25th year of operation for the popular upscale destination. It was also the year that owner chef Odessa Piper was awarded Best Chef Midwest by the Beard Society. Her first course is a cheese tuile with salad and berries. The tuile is made with grated Stravecchio cheese, a Wisconsin product that is hard, much like Parmesan. It's formed in a 6-inch ring.
Okay. I've got the ring set out on a parchment paper. It's either a parchment or a silplat will work really well. Silplats work great.
Bake at 350 until golden, about 5 minutes. First, herbs are added.
After I've got my ring set, this is just such a great opportunity to use whole, fresh herbs. I love cooking with herbs, and I love being able to capture a lot of their flavor and shape and resin. So I'm always looking for opportunities where I can use the leaves whole. Now, this fresh thyme would be too sharp in other circumstances, or for that matter, this flowering oregano. But because this tuile is going to bake, the herbs will bake in, and the sharpness of the herbs will translate to just a beautiful savory flavor, as well as a lot of beautiful color on the finished product, along with the flowers. Then finally, a little bit of dill. Pretty wild, huh? But I have to let it cool before I shape it, so I just stay patient. It cools down very rapidly, and I'm just keep checking it with my spatula. The center is going to be the most molten part. If it stiffens up a little bit on you at this point, you can even pop it back in the oven to soften it up a bit. But it's hot, but not too hot, and I'm going to just mold it into a cup shape. All right, I'm going to talk you through a fruit coulis that I like to use as a really rich fruit-based vinaigrette for the Stravecchio tuile filled with the salad. If you're lucky enough to get black currants, grab them for this prep, because they give a real depth of flavor that balances out the sweetness of the other fruits. I'm going to use less of them in proportion with the other fruits because they don't really taste all that sweet by themselves. They've got a real kind of woodsy, wild, feral flavor, but when you add them in a small amount to other things, they just all of a sudden make it a much deeper conversation. I have some beautiful red currants. I'm going to use a bunch of those. So you can mix a little bit with the fruits, but always include blueberries, and I'll tell you why. The blueberries have pectin, and when they cook into our slurry, they're going to naturally thicken it in a way that you're really going to like. Gives it a beautiful viscosity. These are going to go into the pot, and I'm going to cook them down with a little red wine. Just make sure the wine you're using is not too heavily oaked. Ideally get a variety that has no oak in it. I'm using a Shiraz for this. About a cup. And that'll be enough liquid. Then I'm also going to add about up to 4 tablespoons of sugar. You can use up to 4 tablespoons of sugar, but I don't like this to be too sweet, so I'm actually going to start with 2, and then I'm going to taste and adjust to see if I need any more. I'm also going to use a tablespoon of a really fine fruit liqueur. You could use framboise. I use a blackberry liqueur that I import from Alsace. You can also use cassis. And we may use a little bit of this at the end also, just to balance the flavors. I'll bring this up to a boil and stir it. I don't really want to reduce that wine off. I do want to cook the fruit down, though, and get it to all break up and loosen up from its seeds.
The salad is a large number of exotic greens plus herbs and flowers. The greens are dressed with a rice vinegar grapeseed oil vinaigrette.
Give it a light little toss, and of course some salt and pepper. Because I used a hard aged grating cheese, I've got a really salty thing going with my tuile already, which is very, very intentional. So I'm just going to go very minimal on salting my salad, because when we put all the flavors together, there'll be plenty of salt coming from that tuile. You want to do this last minute right at serve up. And I'm going to take my petals and herbs and do just a little last minute top application.
Meanwhile, the cooked fruit is forced through a china cap. The coulis is combined with grapeseed oil.
My vinaigrette will go out on the outside of the plate. And the piece de la résistance, beautiful, sharp little tasting dill umbels. Because all the flavors are so insertive, these are going to just work in just fine. And there you have it.